Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we are at our New Holland TVT. We're reassembling, we're putting stuff back together, and we're at the hangars here on the 4-wheel drive. There's a bit of setting up on the hangars really, but once we get the hangars done it's kind of just bolt stuff together. There's nothing complex about it. Now there was an old type hanger which my book shows the workings of, and I didn't have the workings of the new type hanger, which I'm going to show you here now. So your new type hanger has, it can be squeezed and it can be shimmed, whereas the old one you couldn't do anything with it when a bit of wear and a bit of play came into the whole thing. So what I done is I got little shims made, and I've put in a few of those, and I've torqued this guy up and squeeze him in, squeeze him out, squeeze him in again to a certain torque, and then squeeze the big nut in him. So that's what we're going to do now. And for those of you who don't know, this is a torque spanner, and they have measurements on here which go in increments of various, I don't know, they probably goes in 10s or 12s, I suppose. They don't go in even numbers anyway. They don't go straight up in 10s, they might go in 12s or whatever. So basically, I don't know if you can see there now, the camera will focus. You have a measurement here of 112. If you line up your 0 with your 112 mark there, that will give you a torque setting of 112. But for instance, if you wanted one of 116, obviously you don't have a mark for that, so you'd go to 0 your 112 and go 4 more, and then you can lock him down here. So that's the basic workings of a torque spanner. I'm going to torque that one up, we'll set it, and we'll get stuck into a bit more of it. I don't know if you could hear it there now, but there was a click, and that click was our basically our torque bar breaking, and when it clicks, you know that's as far as you have to go. So I have to loosen him off now, and I have to set him to a lighter torque setting. Right, so we'll change our torque bar. I think it's 30 we're set to. So the smallest reading on this one is 40. So we'll set her to 40. And we'll go back 10, which will give us our reading, yes. So we'll go back 10. And we have her set there now to 30 Newton meters. Now you could just hear the brake there. So that's it. This is a cheap little torque spanner. This is only a little special. You can definitely get more elaborate ones and more expensive ones. So we'll give you better readings and stuff like that, but seems to do the trick for me. So I'll squeeze all this up, I'll put it back together, and we'll give you an update again there very shortly. Well, as you can see, there is one side totally reassembled, bar our front mud guard obviously, but the rest of it is ready to go. I don't know whether I showed you in the last video or the video beforehand maybe, but this shaft had a pile of wobble in it, and that's all taken out of it now. So that is brilliant, delighted with that. And we will move on to the other side, which is totally disassembled. So last night the two of us were here, and obviously 2 pairs of hands is better than 1, so we got her back together the other side, and I can be tipping away at this side now at the moment. I have my outer hub here, and I'm going to put a new seal in it. as you can see, our roll seal, and the shaft runs through a bushing which is here, which I don't think is warden, but while we're this far we'll change him anyway. So I got stuck into tapping them back together. Quite a bit of a jostling to get this onto the tractor, but after that then it should be relatively straightforward. So I'll drive in my seals and I'll give you a shout then. Okay, so I spoke about this, basically you saw it on the other side. Here is our drive shaft hanger, and this is what causes your knocking and your thudding when you lock on your with your four-wheel drive on in these axles. So what we've done is, there was already one shim in here at this side. We were after putting a few in here now, so when he slides over, he will obviously take up the gap, and that's why our shaft is rock tight on the other side. There's no playing it at all. And I also showed you the torquing of these last night on the other side. So I suppose there's no need to go over covered ground. Fairly quickly I'll just stick it back together, and I will next in is squeeze our top ball joint. It's all back together then. Our track rod end needs to go on, and then basically just reassemble our outer hub, put on our wheels, drop her down, and squeeze up our set our torsion bars. Then both our torsion bars now have no pressure on them at either side, so we will need to reset them, which I will go through there with you in, I suppose, maybe I'll be that far in half an hour that way. So I'll chat to you then. Okay, so we have our whole hub back together now. Basically all we have to do is just put on our outer hub, which is very straightforward, and we are away. There's a little seal that runs around there as well, and we'll stick that in while we're at it. And obviously for a very observant viewer we had the other day, we have a wheel stud as well. So the last job was to torque these. We've all these torqued now. Torquing is something that's kind of often overlooked. You would have seen me doing a bit of it there earlier on. It's very important, and nearly everything has a torque setting. I suppose by right, absolutely everything has a torque setting, but you know, stuff like this, it is important to torque it to its recommended setting. Why a bolt is torqued is basically, my understanding of it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is every bolt has an elastic range, and once you go beyond elastic, I don't know what it's called, I think it could be called plastic or something like that. So basically these bolts now, their torque setting was 200 Newton meters. So if you went 300 Newton meters, you're gone outside your elastic range. And what your elastic range means is when you rip that, or that when that bolt is under tension, it's constantly pulling like that. If you go beyond that, your bolt is stretched and it's not doing its job properly. That's my basic understanding of torque settings, but like I say, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's very important to torque stuff right. I wouldn't have any experience with doing engine rebuilds. I've never done an engine rebuild, but any guy that does engine rebuilds and stuff like that, you would always see them, they'd torque absolutely everything, and they'd be mad looking for torque settings for this, that and the other, because it's vitally important that bolts aren't over squeezed, and obviously if they're not squeezed enough, they're going to loosen. So that's where your torque settings become very, very important. So I'm going to stay going. Once we've this done, we have to put, we won't put our mudguard brackets back on for now, and there's a valid reason for that, because when I put the wheels back on, it's going to be easy for me to get in and take that drive shaft cover off, opposed to having mudguard brackets on. It's out to here, but you know, you have that much more room to get in. So I'll stick that up and we'll give you a quick update and a kind of a round off of the whole thing, and just a bit of a, I suppose, a bit of a update on what's to come. As you can see now, we're back together. Our wheels are back on, and I'm gonna take off our four-wheel drive guard now, as there's nothing underneath the tractor propping it up. So the axle is obviously holding the tractor up. It's held on its own steam, so that will suit me to take it off. So I suppose I'll leave this at where it is now. As soon as we've this job finished, I might as well I suppose I have to set my torsion bars, but that won't be of interest to you. I'll show you the basics of it, I suppose. There isn't a whole pile to it really. Most of this stuff is in the workshop manual, so that's how I know what I'm doing. So basically here, as you can see, we have our there's 3 bolts in a slot, and you have your torsion bar that goes through that piece of the lower wishbone. Obviously it's under pressure. You squeeze it up underneath to a set torque, as we spoke about earlier. You squeeze your bolts here, and that is more or less it. Your axle has to be in the down position, I think, to do it, but I'll give a flick through the book again on how it's done. So nothing too complex really about that, just maybe 15-20 minute job and it would be finished. So that's our axle. We could have went a lot deeper into it and done pins and bushings and all that kind of stuff, but just not really worth the effort at this stage, because it wouldn't make no massive great difference to it. If I was to do a complete overhaul, I'd probably do a lot more than I did this round, but maybe another time. So coming up over the weekend, we'll have more to do with wheels, but something a bit different to do with wheels, and something I haven't seen before, something real interesting coming up over the next 10 days, I suppose. Something new for us and something new for all of you to see that will be interesting, and I'll be looking for help from you along the way. So that's kind of it really for this video. Thanks very much for everyone who's watched, everyone who's subscribed, and everyone who's commented. The feedback is greatly appreciated, and we're really enjoying the YouTube experience so far. So thanks for now, and we'll see you later on.